On the morning of September 17, 1862, two massive armies clashed in what would become the bloodiest single day in American history. Generals Robert E. Lee and George B. McClellan directed their troops in a ferocious battle that raged throughout the battlefield located near the small village of Sharpsburg, Maryland. It became a horrific display of death and destruction, with staggering casualties totaling nearly 23,000 men. The gruesome struggle ebbed and flowed throughout the day, with each side launching attacks and counterattacks in a desperate bid to gain the upper hand. Soldiers fought and died over small patches of ground, including a narrow bridge, sunken road, and cornfields. Entire units were decimated as the battle seesawed back and forth, leaving no spot untouched by violence. By the time the fighting ceased, neither Lee's Confederates nor McClellan's Union forces could claim a decisive victory. Yet the cost was incalculable. The dead and wounded blanketed the landscape, a haunting testament to the horrors of war. Today we take a look at the haunts of Antietam National Battlefield and the Civil War battle that left an indelible mark on the farms just north of Sharpsburg, Maryland. A battle that may have ripped the fabric between this world and the next, allowing the dead to speak to us from beyond the grave. So if you're curious, let's take a walk through history. Bloody Lane, a sunken road turned graveyard, carries a heavy, haunted air, a place where the living and the dead seem to coexist. During the Battle of Antietam, it became a slaughterhouse, where Confederate bodies were stacked like cordwood after relentless Union fire poured down from the ridge above. Today, the ground is eerily silent, but many say the horrors of that day still replay themselves in ways that defy explanation. Visitors often report the unmistakable crack of phantom gunfire echoing through the lane, or the acrid scent of gunpowder drifting from nowhere. Some claim to see Confederate soldiers in worn, tattered uniforms marching the road, their ghostly forms vanishing before anyone can approach. But these fleeting shadows are just the beginning of the mysteries tied to Bloody Lane. One of the most chilling accounts involves a group of schoolboys visiting the battlefield. While wandering near the observation tower, close to where the Irish Brigade launched their infamous charge, they heard faint sounds rising from the fields. At first, it seemed like chanting, distant but growing louder. Others described it as singing, almost festive, like a Christmas carol. They swore it sounded like fa-la-la-la-la from Deck the Halls, echoing in an otherworldly tone. Yet the noise faded as quickly as it came, leaving the boys unsettled. But what if it wasn't a cheerful tune at all? What if the sound was something far more sinister? The ghostly echoes of the Irish Brigade's battle cry, fa-a-ba-la, still ringing through the blood-soaked earth. Those who have lingered too long at Bloody Lane say the cries, the gunfire, and even the faint smell of death are warnings, as though the spirits here want us to remember the horrors they endured. This is not just a battlefield. It's a place where the past refuses to rest. With its graceful stone arches spanning the creek, Burnside Bridge is one of the most picturesque locations on the Antietam battlefield. But don't let its beauty deceive you. This serene landmark hides a bloody and haunting past. On that faithful September day, Union General Ambrose E. Burnside, leading a force of 12,500 soldiers, ordered repeated assaults on the bridge, determined to break through the Confederate defenses. Yet a mere 500 Confederate sharpshooters under Brigadier General Robert Toombs held the high ground, raining death upon their foes with ruthless precision. For hours, the bridge was soaked in blood, its stones slick with the desperate struggle of men trying to cross. Hundreds fell where they fought, their bodies left to rest in the soil near the bridge in hurried, unmarked graves. Perhaps it is this violence, this hurried disposal of lives, that has imprinted something sinister on the land. As darkness falls, Burnside Bridge transforms into a haven of the unexplained. Visitors have reported colored orbs floating eerily in the night air, their faint glow bobbing silently along the water's edge. Even more chilling are the spectral figures said to appear, ghostly shapes of soldiers in tattered uniforms emerging from the mist before vanishing into the shadows of the trees. And then there is the drumbeat. An otherworldly rhythm echoes across the waters, faint at first, but growing stronger, until it reverberates like a heartbeat. It is a sound that freezes blood, a lone drummer boy, perhaps eternally calling his comrades to battle, doomed to wander where he once stood in life. Some say the air itself grows heavy near the bridge, as though the weight of the past presses down on all who dare to walk its length. To stand there at night is to feel the presence of eyes watching from the darkness, and the overwhelming sense that not all who fell at Burnside Bridge have truly left. With its modest whitewashed walls and simple design, the Dunker Church seems unassuming at first glance. A peaceful country chapel built for quiet worship by local farmers in 1852. But beneath this tranquil exterior lies a dark and haunting legacy, one forged in blood and agony during the Battle of Antietam. This humble sanctuary, which once offered solace to a small congregation, became the epicenter of unimaginable carnage and suffering, leaving behind whispers of the restless dead. On September 16, 1862, the eve of the battle, Confederate troops took up position around the church, transforming it into a strategic stronghold for the next day's brutal fighting. By sunrise on September 17th, the air was filled with the deafening roar of cannon fire and the anguished cries of men. The Dunker Church, once a place of peace, became a macabre focal point as Union forces launched relentless attacks against the Confederate left flank. By the time the sun set, the church and surrounding fields were soaked with the blood of thousands, the once pristine white walls marred with bullet holes and spattered with gore. After the battle, the Dunker Church became a makeshift field hospital. The wounded and dying were dragged inside, their screams echoing through the sacred space. Limbs were sawed off in gruesome piles, the air thick with the metallic scent of blood and the cries of men succumbing to their injuries. It is said that some never truly left, their spirits bound to the place where they drew their last, agonized breaths. At night, eerie lights are often seen flickering around the church, moving with an unnatural rhythm as if guided by unseen hands. These ghostly orbs hover and dance in the darkness, their presence chilling to all who witness them. Skeptics may dismiss them as tricks of the eye, but those who have stood beneath the moonlit sky near the Dunker Church swear they felt an oppressive heaviness, as though the air itself was laden with sorrow and regret. The Dunker Church stands as a solemn monument to the brutality of Antietam, its walls scarred not only by bullets but by the echoes of the past. For those who dare to visit after dark, it is a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels perilously thin, and where every creak of the floorboards or flicker of light could signal the presence of someone or something otherworldly. Battlefields drenched in blood and sorrow aren't the only places cloaked in ghostly tales. Buildings that served as meeting places, hideouts, or field hospitals have also earned reputations as haunted relics of war. One such place is the Pry House, just north of Sharpsburg, where eerie legends and unexplained phenomena continue to chill those who dare to visit. Once commandeered as Union General George McClellan's headquarters during the Battle of Antietam, the Pry House has since become part of the National Battlefield Park. Today it operates as the Pry House Field Hospital Museum, an apt role given its grim history as a medical site during the battle. On its grounds, more than 500 wounded soldiers were treated, many of whom never left alive. But history tells only part of the story. Shadows of the past seem to linger, haunting both the house and the barn, where so many took their last breaths. Perhaps the most unnerving tale of the Pry House stems from a fire that consumed much of the structure in the mid-1970s. While battling the blaze, firefighters reported seeing a woman gazing out from a second-floor window. But there is one chilling detail. The second floor had already collapsed, leaving no solid ground for anyone to stand on. When the firefighters searched the building, they found no one inside. Years later, more strange sightings were reported. A visitor during a gathering at the house claimed to see a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothing descending the staircase. When she asked others in the group about the mysterious figure, she was met with blank stares. No one else had seen the apparition. Shortly after, workers repairing the house noticed a woman standing in an upstairs window. When they were about to enter the room, they were horrified to discover that the room itself had no floor. Some believe the woman haunting the upper floors may be the ghost of Union General Israel Richardson's wife, who had visited him on his deathbed in that very house. Could her spirit still be watching over him, bound to the tragic scene of his demise? Or perhaps the shadowy figure is one of the many souls lost to the war, still lingering where they drew their last breath. Whatever the explanation, those who visit the Pry House today can't shake the feeling that they're not alone. Whether it's the sorrow of lives cut short or the anger of a family whose home was stolen by war, something lingers here, trapped in the echoes of history. The Antietam Battlefield, with its rolling fields and weathered landmarks, stands as a grim reminder of the horrors of war. Yet it's more than just a historic site. It's a realm where the past refuses to rest. For those who visit Antietam, take heed. As you tread the paths where thousands met their end, you may feel a chill that no breeze can explain, or hear whispers that belong to no living voice. A glimpse of movement out of the corner of your eye, an unexplained sound, or the oppressive feeling of being watched may remind you that the veil between the living and the dead grows perilously thin on this hallowed ground. Every corner of this battlefield seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Each haunted location bears the weight of the battlefield's blood-soaked history, where countless lives were cut short in the most violent and harrowing of ways. Visitors should tread carefully, for the battlefield's ghosts do not rest, and they may choose to make their presence known when you least expect it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time as we explore more curious history. Take care.